So I wanted to do a little update on the deed in lieu of foreclosure instead of a short sale or coupled with a short sale. I was saying in previous videos that back in the day, in the beginning of the last short sale market, the banks were very open to doing deeds in lieu, but that later, when the market had collapsed and they were really just trying to clog up the system to stop further collapse, they almost always said, no, we're just doing short sales. And it was funny because I'm working for a client. She was still current. She had a good reason, and I was leveraging that in the market and the California law, and I was explaining in my deed in lieu offer that I really thought this was in the interests of the bank to do this with her, and that she was foregoing a lot in order to get this property back to them now instead of leveraging California law for all the benefits she could receive. And that I was actually thinking that this exchange, you're not just doing the client a favor, like in California, because of our laws, the client's actually, and I didn't want to say it, but this was the point I was trying to get across, was doing a favor for the bank. The bank was getting the better deal, but she got to keep her credit. In the term of our deed in lieu is that they were going to take that property back in full, as if it was paid in full, not the normal remark, paid in full according to the law, but for less than full amount. We didn't want that remark, equivalent of a short sale remark. We wanted it to go back just like it was a sale. And I said, as an attorney in California, I can work with title to make sure you get the exact title you want, whether you want it like a foreclosure title or you want it like the property is being sold and you're now the owner of the bank, whatever works for your investor, we will take care of that too. So we set all that up. And I told my client, I said, we did a lot of these in the beginning. Over time, it faded. I would say maybe you got a 20% chance on this. And I said, and then even then, most likely, they're going to make you have 1 month late. And I was on the phone. They moved me out of they moved our file up because I'm an attorney and I was calling up, and I think in part because I was very nice. They moved the file up to the more experienced level, and the person on the phone said, well, your customer manager didn't pick up, so I'm picking up. And he told me about his experience, and he asked me, what we were trying to accomplish here and why. And I explained it. And I said, look, I'm just working for the client, and I'm just saying I think this is such a good deal, as I expressed, for your investor, that I don't know why you turned down this deed in lieu. It would be your investor would have to have some market distorting mechanism, like they're getting paid insurance, rather than taking this deal now. And I said, she's foregoing the ability to, I said, if I advise her California law, you're looking at like a year's worth of not getting paid, and maybe even then, because she's not going to want the property to go to waste. She's going to, I would advise her, she might want to put renters in there, and then you'd have to cash for keys and renters. I go, this is a tremendous deal for your client. I said, it's not just you're doing her a favor. I go, I can't believe California law is so much improved even from the last round when we were doing these. And he goes, well, normally we don't do deeds in lieu. And I go, yeah, but I'm thinking back then there was more flexibility in the beginning of the market, maybe now. And he actually kept me on the line. He said, I'll call over. And he goes, yeah, the investor will do a deed in lieu with you. And I think that's amazing. So it is now possible with the bank and the right investors and the right presentation of the deed in lieu that you might be able to do a deed in lieu and get out from under your property while you're still current. So if you're in California and you've got you're just tired of California and the expenses and everything else and the cost of living, and you've just got California fatigue, but you wanted to try to save your credit, I would consider a deed in lieu as the very least as an opener to setting, even for those of you who are just going to do a short sale anyway, and you want to take care of the short sale laws, I would use the deed in lieu as the opener, because you can at least in this circumstance and many of the other ones. I'm not saying every time, I'm an attorney, and it's definitely not every time. A lot of it depends on the investor, the investor's guidelines, the servicer, in their insurance arrangements. But because of California law now changing to the detriment of the lenders and to the benefit of homeowners, we have so much leverage that, for those willing to do the work, and some of it's going to be you. I mean, they're going to ask the same questions over and over. They definitely want to make sure nothing's being pulled a fast one over them. So we have to be upfront, sincere. I have to be prepared to allow you to talk to them on the phone. I think that was one of the big keys here. I told them, I talked to my client. I said, she's smart. I think you, if need be, I can put you in touch with her and you can ask her these questions yourself. Because they kept asking the same questions over and over. Because they just don't want to be caught in a trick. But if you can convey sincerity to them, I think a lot of short sales, for those of you that want to protect your credit and are willing to move out 30, 60, or 90 days from now, I would start it off with many clients with a deed in lieu as an opener, to preserve credit, to get it done on terms that you're interested in. And so we know, even before the short sale starts, are you going to have a backup plan? Or what are you going to do? How are we going to gain leverage? So if you're interested, I have underwaterrealestate.com. I've set it up nationally to put attorneys and realtors on people's teams in every location. You can go there now. Now, if it's California law, we'll talk first, but then we'll work with an agent in your area who I can either train or already certified or someone we've already worked with, to make sure that for those of you that want to do a short sale coupled with a deed in lieu, we can do that too. And, this brings up sort of the whole variation of the theme. Let's say well, we'll cover that, but low equity people might want to start concurrently with a deed in lieu and short sale at the same time, or deed in lieu and just sale, not necessarily short sale at the same time. All these things we can discuss at underwaterrealestate.com. Thank you.